Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Zach Adkins, and in this video, we're diving right back in. We're going to be looking at some more rock stars slash musicians that are follically challenged, wear wigs, and or have had some kind of hair replacement therapy. Let's get into it. So in my previous video, we talked about all of the musicians and stuff that I could find in that moment that wore wigs and or had some kind of hair transplants of some sort. That video did really, really well. It seemed like everybody was excited, and sometimes they didn't even realize somebody was wearing a wig or whatever. And like I had mentioned in my previous video, I too am losing my hair. I'm not going to take my hat off right now because it's in a ponytail. It's terrible. I don't want to mess with it. Take off my hat. I am follically challenged. It's very sad as of right now. I will eventually come to terms with losing my hair. I'm really sad about it, but also kind of not really. It just is what it is. A lot of support in the comment section about me having my hair thinning. It just is what it is, man. So anyway, I appreciate all the support in the comments, and actually anybody that commented about them losing their hair and challenging forward as, you know, deciding to go bald and growing the beards and stuff like that. Awesome. Way to go. Maybe eventually when I decide to get rid of my hair, I will do a video on it or something. We'll see. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. So there's a little stipulation here. Some of these people, I think it's their real hair and they had some kind of like altercation done. We're going to kind of have a little fun with this one and dive right in. So let's take a look at some of the first ones. It takes 2 seconds and it's free and it helps me out. Please, thank you very much. Okay, bye. Get back to the video. First on the list is good old Ringo Starr. So, of course, Ringo Starr, you know, drummer, Beatles. You can tell this is his real hair for sure. And, you know, the thing that to keep in mind is, like, although he's got that kind of mop head look going on, you could tell that his hair is already receding. You can see a little bald spot starting at the very front right there. And then now this is him as recent as I could probably find. And look at how nice and perfect his front hairline is. And you could tell, like, on the sides it's real thick, but then the top it's kind of thin. So that's kind of a sign that he's had transplants put in for sure. Here he was back, I want to say the 80s. He was already kind of rocking a bald look from what I can see. What is up with this person's arm? It looks like a freaking snake. What is that? I'm almost more weirded out by this person's arm. It looks like he had probably transplants put in at some point. He's just rocking this look now, considering he's like 80 plus years old. So the next one on the list is Steve Stevens. This is Billy Idol's guitarist. Look at this big ass head of hair he's got. Pretty sure if you were like in the 80s and you saw this, you'd think that was a woman. This is his real hair for sure back in the day. Because then you go to this, and I mean, let's be real here. There's a lot that's fake in this photo. The hairdo, you can see like a very perfect outer circle right in the front. So I wouldn't doubt that he's had some kind of surgery and then still wears an extension or wig in this one. He definitely looked better when he was younger. Some of these people, they look better now because they've grown into it, but he looks better when he was younger for sure. All right, Paul Rogers. Right away, you can tell if you look real close to that forehead, that little circle band like that looks pretty clear. That's probably where he had a surgery. That's where he had that He's got that perfect little crescent shape. Because this was him back in the day. That's where his hairline naturally goes. Got that part right down the middle, but you can already see it's thinning just in the front. Now, I don't know what he did to his eyebrows, because they're definitely smaller now. Maybe he moved some of that eyebrow hair up. His hair was going away. He was in bad company. Good old Mick Jagger. Rolling Stones. Yeah, this is obviously his real hair back when he was a little guy. Again, they all had that like weird London mop. I think that a lot of that, it was the style at the time, but I also think that they were losing their hair, so it was easier to just grow it down and just completely cover so it looks like they weren't. This is, I go back and forth on how I feel about, well, a lot of things, but in specifically to his hair. A part of me thinks this is just a wig. I think it also could be that he had extensions and maybe they didn't take very well or they didn't last as long as he wanted them to. He decided to just go with a wig on top of that. Because typically when you see the plugs, they usually just stick straight out. And then that's why they have to do that weird single mom of 3 haircut, you know, where it looks all spiky. They just stick straight out. The old transplants, they don't lay naturally. So you have to go, okay, well, I'll just style my hair all weird. Which there's a few of them in here, you'll see. What do you guys think about this one with Mick Jagger? All right, Sir Paul McCartney. This is definitely a hair transplant. You can tell because the top of his head has a much different flow to it than the sides of his head. And then, of course, he has to do that single mother of three kind of vibe where you got, because this is his real hair. And again, they had that London mop. Now, of course, there's a conspiracy that this isn't actually Paul McCartney at all, right? I'm sure you guys have seen this conspiracy. And if you haven't, you need to dive into this world because I don't necessarily believe it, but I think it's extremely interesting that the actual Paul McCartney died in a car accident way back in the day, and then they replaced him with a lookalike that they found at some like Beatles lookalike competition thing, and then they put him in there because they didn't want anybody to like realize that Paul McCartney wasn't Paul McCartney. And then like there's a bunch of like little trails on each of their album covers and stuff, and if you play their songs backwards, it shows that he's dead too. I don't know. I don't believe it. All right, next on the list, we're going to jump to some 80s metal. We're going to jump to Tommy Lee. Vader, did you put that in here? I swear to God. There we go. Tommy Lee from Motley Crue. This you could tell is his real hairline, and he's got a great hairline, even back in the day. I think that that's his real hairline. I think that, because a lot of people commented like, well, you didn't talk about Tommy Lee. I don't think I don't know. Maybe this one is the only one I can really see that maybe he had a little bit of a transplant put in, or maybe he used something in the front just to keep it from kind of going back. But I think he just has a really great hairline. I'm not going to lie. If you could give me a convincing story that it was his real hair, I'd probably just believe it because, again, he's got a great hairline back then, even with a ridiculous hairdo like that. So I don't know. I think this is, you know, he had the big hair and stuff like that, but I believe that he's just kind of naturally blessed. Maybe something in the front. All right, Mick Mars. So this is interesting. Mick Mars, I was told from a few people, Mick Mars has always worn a wig because this is his real hair. It's this kind of dark blonde, almost reddish color. They wanted somebody that had a more dark jet black hair, and he didn't have that, and he tried. It's true, but that looks like a fucking wig if I've ever seen one. I wouldn't put it past him because, you know, this guy looks 1,000 years old. He already looks like he's got a 401k and house bills and he hates his life. And then this guy is older and looks even younger. So I would assume that this is already a wig of sorts. All right, staying on the Motley Crue train, we've got Nikki Sixx. So Nikki Sixx has been open about his wig wearing. Looks like his real hair to me. Maybe some hair extensions. That is not his real hair. You can always tell by the little flippy flappy spike in the back. And then the bandana. He's 2 out of 2. Foregoing the wig route that he maybe tried to have a transplant put in and it just didn't take. Little John Bon Jovi. Just a little baby. Enough of that. This is John Bon Jovi's real hair. Beautiful, flowing, amazing. Honestly, the only thing I'm really shocked about this is his Superman tattoo. A lot of people really think this is his hair. But again, think about what we've learned, okay? The ABCs of it all. Flippy thing to the left, and he spikes it up top, and then has the sides come down. He's very much like how Paul McCartney's hair was. So this is 100% either a hair transplant or a wig, but I think this is more of a transplant situation. He's got that spikiness on the top that he's trying to hide. Oh boy, Mr. Gary Newman. Does anybody like really question whether that's his real hair or not? Like, it's a dead-ass question. The guy was already losing his hair back in the day. You could park 2 cars in that garage, all right? Good old Rod Stewart. Again, we've looked at our ABCs. Got the spikiness. He's got the droopiness. And then he's got where it just doesn't match right in here. You know, there's no flow between. Now, he's actually pretty consistent. He's been a single mom for 30 years, according to his hair. Because he's always had the same hairstyle. But you can really tell here, he's had some work done right on the front. So I think this is a transplant. I don't think it's a wig. I'm sure the sides have kept up just fine. All right, now this one's a little weird. Good old Kirk Hammett. You can really tell, because back in the day, there's a photo I'll get to in a second, badly. He was starting to recede pretty good too. So I think this is his real hair, but again, you can see a very stayed long, but it was receding here and it was receding here. So he had the bald patch in the back and then the receding hair in the front. This is really his hair. Maybe extensions, but I don't know. That looks pretty natural to me. But you could tell he's had work done in the front and in the back too. And, you know, newsflash, it does not get any better with age. Rudy Sarzo, legendary bassist. This has to be some kind of wig. It's hard to tell because the guy's been literally having the same exact haircut since the 80s. When you look at his hair before this, I think, was it Quiet Riot? But when you look at this hair before that, it's not even close to this color. It's not even close. It's actually a completely different hairline in general. And then he does like the bangs and he did all that stuff. So a lot of times when they do bangs too, they're trying to like grab this hair that they have left and try to pull it down front to hide a lot of that. This was his hair before. He was like a blonde and it was really curly. That was his real hair. This one is really interesting. This is Keith Urban, bro. Not a rock star guy. Look at that. This thing points due north, all right? And then all of a sudden, it's all coming forward. That is a hair transplant 100 billion cajillion times over 1,000. Whatever that is, put it in your calculator, take it times 5. Ooh, Dolly Parton. This one will freak some people out. So she talks about her hair loss. She was actually losing her hair. I don't know if it was alopecia or what it was. She had started losing her hair at a younger age and talked about it in an interview where she said something like, you know, you can't be country if you don't have long, big, fluffy, flowy hair and you don't drive a Cadillac. You know, she was kind of being smart about it. She's been wearing wigs since forever. There is a photo that's going around of her. That is fucking Bret Michaels. That is not Dolly Parton. This was her actual hair here. Looks great. But you can even tell it's like a darker blonde, even though it's black and white. You can still tell that it had more of like that dark blonde. And then the one on the right you can see is the wig. And there's this photo that circulated for a while. Like this was her, like she lost her hair and she was bald. This is definitely Photoshop. You can tell 15 minutes to get your wig set right, make it set the way you want it to, get it glued on, and then you just take it off whenever you're done. But yeah, Dolly Parton, I think it's more of a wig situation than it is a hair replacement or transplant. And you can really see it in this photo. You can see right there where the wig line starts. Very noticeable. And once you notice it now, you're never going to like look back. Everybody keeps saying that Iggy Pop, you missed him. I'm like, dude, nobody missed it. Nobody has been questioning whether or not Iggy Pop has been wearing a wig his entire life. Look at this. Hairdos like this is why guys wear bandanas, because they're trying to hide that little crease between where their hairline starts or ends, and then where either the implants or the wig starts. His hairline was already basically gone. This looks like Jennifer Aniston on her worst day. Even his stomach is like sad. We got CC DeVille from Poison. Does anybody believe this is his real hair? If so, please leave it in the comment section so I can delete you and have everybody go in there and comment that you don't have eyes. He's got the spike and he's got the downward flop. And he's got looking like a wig. So he might have the best of both worlds. Definitely a wig, maybe hair transplant. That is definitely a Coke face if I've ever seen it. Like here, I'm going to imitate it. Oh, it's 19 maybe. And he's already getting the hair moving back. When you're in a band like Poison, where literally your hairline and everything is the most important part of your entire existence, and you know, you're going to do whatever you can to make sure that illusion stays on, because nobody wants to come and see you if you've got, like, you know, you're a Vince Neil. I don't know if these photos are reversed because his hairline was on the other side. Very nice hair. This is his real hair back in the day. And then today. Come on now. I think Jennifer Aniston had like a wig company that she was secretly running out of like Cambodia or something like that. And then all of them went like, you know, I want to look like I'm on an episode of Friends. That would be really... Bret Michaels is always wearing a bandana, because if you see that hairdo, you're going to go, that is a wig. And, or I wouldn't doubt if he did, again, have transplants, but that's definitely a wig right there. We are moving on to the last and final greatest rock star in the history of the planet that has the absolute best hair out of all of them so far, without fail. It is the legendary Steven Seagal. He counts, all right? Most people are going to be like, he's not a musician. Yes, he is. This one counts. Deal with it. Look at that. That is amazing. I don't know what to say that is. I think that even hair transplants would be offended. I don't even know if his beard is real, to be honest. I have no idea. None of that looks like it's supposed to happen. This was him back in the day. That's a real person's hairdo. I don't know what's happening there. Whoever gave him this hair transplant, they need to go to jail forever for attempted murder. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you checking out the video. Had a lot of fun doing this one too. It seems like most of you are pretty on board with this idea. It's just to have fun. It's just to take a look at, you know, we all go through either like hair losses or weight gain, weight loss, and you know, we're all human, we're all people, and it's not a massive deal that trying to live and look good for either our own vanity or for other people. But I enjoy doing this, and if you know more people that I missed, definitely leave them in the comment section. Like the video if you liked it. Check out the other video that was like the part 1 of this, if you want to call it that. We will continue doing more and more of these as time moves forward. I just appreciate all the support. So we'll see you guys in the next video.